Good morning, traders. This is Barry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is, oops, sorry about that. Just checking sound. Uh, it is Monday, November 18th, about 5 till 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So looking back at Friday's session, right, we had that continuation down. Friday was, the monthly OPEX. Uh, and we'll go. Keep in mind that Wednesday this week is which I need to add to my calendar, obviously. I forgot it. But Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock is the VIX expiration this week. So as we look at what that did to structure, we have some clear markers on the line. And basically, I'll just be watching to see if and when we start holding above these excess and A levels, and if we can, and then the single prints that we skipped over from the upside to the downside. So this is really your real pivot points, uh, and we'll get into that in just a second here. So looking at positioning real quick for the week, 500 is still what you've got to the upside, 500 to 502. Currently, we're trading 498 basically, so not too far from that level. And then to the downside, back to this 485 plus or minus a dollar, 484 to 486. For today, you're just basically looking at 495 to 505, with 502 as a bit of a hurdle if you can clear 500. Looking at SPY the same way, the SPY is currently trading 586, and you can see that's right where, so 585 would be your first tier support down below, and then you could potentially on a strong VIX test 580, but we'll have to see. That would be for the week. And then for today, very similar, and then to the upside you could potentially test 592, which would not be that much of a stretch. You're talking about 60 ES handles higher than we're currently trading. For the cash market closed at 58.71. We're up. We're pretty much right around that same place right now. So you got for today 58.70. You can see 5900 is still your wall uh, to get above, and again, that's only going to be about 35 points up higher than we're currently trading. Not a lot going on for that right at this point in time. And what we did on Friday was uh, we come back down and we tested we hit these untested points of control, right? This is the point of control that was for this large move up on November 5th on the session. This is where we were, and if I take off the extended session, it's just because I'm sorry, that was where we were from back before the election. So we kind of cleared that high volume node and tested it. So we're basically just right back here. I think I will leave that extended off for this view here. So as we look at where we're at, we're kind of just basically backfilling skipped areas. And I think that, basically we've rechecked this area. So if we are just going to be lackluster, going nowhere, doing nothing, we could probably fade up to, uh, right around 59.70, I would think, to the upside, and potentially come down and test 58.20 to the downside. So basically, 59.70 to 58.20 would be my range that I'm expecting us to stay in for this week, and we'll see, if we can actually, get out of that or whatever. Uh, until we end the time framing down, and we should have to get at least one more days of action, even if today takes back half of yesterday. I would expect, now that we've left some overhead supply, and potentially we had this could be a little bit of a blow off top. It's not huge, but we had all the classic signs of a top that could last for a while, and these tops might not get broken before next year, and we might, pull back a little bit deeper before these are even taken out. It's potential that we could get test underneath 5,000 on the ES before we see back over 66,050 again. We'll just have to watch. So as bullish as we've been, um, the things that really makes me think that I want to really see if we have any proof that we can push higher now is just for the fact that the Nasdaq futures could not clear over the all-time high that and maintain anything. There was just, they're like, that is more than enough money, or we're just taking it off the books, uh, and we'll go from there. So on the deck, which I kind of skipped over for the week, I said there's really no news, and there isn't. We got a couple of Fed heads yabbering about this or that this week. We got unemployment claims, but really there's, all single just red star events tomorrow morning before the bell, which will be a sentiment read. We have Lowe's and Walmart, and then Wednesday we're gonna have TGX and Target, and then Wednesday after the bell, which is the only large earnings, we're gonna have NVDA after the bell on Wednesday. So I think this is gonna really be the thing that you know obviously it could just come in line and we just get a smaller than expected movement from it, but we could test range, right? We could test the top of that range that I was giving you or the bottom of the range that I was giving you with the print. So that's going to be Wednesday after the bell, and that's really the only thing on deck for this week uh, that is of note. So looking back at this one time framing chart, the bottom of balance is where we really were when we come, out of this. And if you draw your fibs on it, just for this last measured move, we are at a logical point that if support's going to come in, this is going to be it. So basically, we've come down enough to, shake some of the people out that were staying, that didn't want to leave the party basically at this time, right? So the bottom of balance is still 20,000 for the Nasdaq, and it's still this 57.25 for the ES. So we'll see if we're at that halfway back 61.8, right around there for respectively 61.8 for the Nasdaq. You have to see if you know what I would like to see is to make it a little bit two-sided. I would like to see us go up a little bit, right? And then just get another flush. I think that the market's a little overextended and it'll be much more healthy uh, for us going higher later potentially if we can get some lower checks. And I mean, under these swing lows, we need this to clear out, and then we'll have to see how many days that we can stay under it if we even get down there, right? If we can get some trades under 20,000, if we can get some trades under 57.25. Um, really get one more good shakeout and then see how high we can get back up after that. That'll be your tell whether those highs stand for months or just weeks, right? So we'll see where we are right now. Right now, as I was trying to point out on Friday in the chat, so far this is just a run-of-the-mill pullback. There's nothing special about this. There's no break-in trend. There's nothing going on that's uh, there's nothing to see here at this point in time until we get under these levels and make some progress or not. But what I ideally like to see for the bulls, right? The bulls' dream would be to come down here, spend a day to 3 days under these lows, get back up above, and just start coming back up again in a very slow, measured, methodical move that just is probably like 20 sessions of one time frame to get back up here. Just, you know, max pain at that point is what it would be. 30 points overnight action for the ES. As we look at where we are on those markers from Friday, we can see that for the Russell and the ES, right, those bearish markers above are holding as resistance. For the NASDAQ, we have got a little bit higher up in the check, so potentially we just wipe out some of the, or at least get one more check, I think, between the bells of this. Keep in mind the last two opening prints, right? The first 30 minutes have been a flush. We've had excess and A left. So when the 10 o'clock to 10:30 bar comes back on, end of vogue after the first 30 minutes have traded, we have not been able to take out that first 30-minute high, which was pretty close to the opening bell last Thursday and Friday. So we'll have to watch that to see if we get a little bit of of an up day. If we reverse that, right, we get a push up, and then we start holding below or not. But I'm not going to get too excited one way or the other unless we can maintain below Friday's low with a rising VIX. That would be potential trend because remember, there's no news to speak of this week, so the market can do whatever it wants. It doesn't have to wait on a catalyst because there are none. Right? We already started a liquidation break. If there's going to be continuation, it can just continue. Uh, but what I would like to see for the bulls is a push up to these excess and A line, maybe past it, and then when the 10 to 10:30 bar checks in, checking back to that excess and A line, and then coming up and taking out these single prints and getting some fills in these single prints. So I think your day max is probably around 20,900 for the ES. I wouldn't be too greedy past that point. And for the Nasdaq and for the ES, you could probably test 6,000 on the futures, which would still be under 6,000 of the cash uh, potentially for the upside, and that would end the one time framing down. That would give us a check, and I think it's potential that we have a little bit of change in tone, and we'll have to see if we once we end one time framing down. What I want to see the following day is it a one and done for the bulls now, right? Can we start heading lower? That'll be the real test. Otherwise, it's just a normal pullback. We're still solidly in this uptrend, and within 8 or 9 sessions, we'll take out the high again, and we'll see. But chances are that uh, we've met the high of the month, or it's been printed. So we'll just have to see if that follows through or not. You guys have a good day. There's just keep it simple. Watch the value area and watch these levels as they trade today. Watch that first 30-minute print and see if you end one time, see if that excess in A line ends. If you take out before the euro close both the top and the bottom of A, that first 30-minute period, we're probably going to get a potentially a megaphone pattern today, which could be very hard to play, meaning that every time you get a higher high, you start retracing lower. Every time you get a lower low, you start retracing higher, and your range expands as the day goes on. That would be the hardest of all to trade, I think, today, and that has potential as well. Have a